at the end of the day, you're not here for Amazon. You're not actually even here to make more money. What you are here for is because I'm betting that you want more joy, more freedom, and more happiness. And happiness for most people, when we've asked them, is just simply more agency over their time. And with that time, they generally want to do one of two things. The first one is spend more time with their family. And the second thing is to spend more time traveling. And so obviously traveling is a bit of a challenge at the moment, certainly internationally, but spending more time with family and to be even a bit more granular, actually be with their family, right? Not distracted, not constantly thinking about something else and stressed and having that mortgage stress and the bills and all the rest of the stuff. That's actually why we're here. So I want to talk to that for a moment, because everything that we're going to be talking here tonight, elections, property, stocks, bonds, crypto, all this stuff we're going to cover in a second. At the end of the day, what I want to do is link that to the outcome that you're here really for. Even Amazon, what you're really here for is to have more time, freedom, fun with your family, with your friends, because guys, we are a spirit in a meat suit, clinging onto a rock, flying through outer space. It shouldn't even be happening, but it is. And we're not here for that long. I promise you that, right? We are only here for a minute. So it is. I really want to encourage you as you watch me here tonight to remember this fact, right? We do not get a second run as far as I know and as far as anybody can prove. This is it. This is the only time we have. And I don't know if you caught it. Let's start with the US election. America is in a very, very interesting time right now. I can't remember actually seeing it ever in my lifetime, as crazy as it is right now. And tonight is not about politics. I don't want to say go Trump or go Biden or anything. What I want to talk about are the four possible outcomes of this election that I see, and how they're going to affect us here in Australia, and in particular, how they're going to affect you and I in regard to our objective of being more connected to our family, having more free cash flow, and less 9-to-9 work, right? So the four outcomes that I jotted down when I was thinking about this morning over my coffee were, number one, Donald Trump wins, right? That's the first outcome. The second outcome is Biden wins, right? The third outcome is that Biden wins, but he doesn't have a lot of power because it's kind of split beneath him. He's in power, but he doesn't have that much power with the votes. And then the fourth is the undecided situation where it's too close to call, or Donald Trump does not give a concession speech and refuses to accept the decision and takes it to the Supreme Court, or whatever he does if that happens. And so those are the four sort of outcomes that I think are likely. Now, obviously, outcome number 1 and 2, one of them's going to win. But what I want to do is I'll talk to the outcome of each and what I think is going to happen and how it's going to affect us. So the first one is if Trump wins. So if Trump wins, in my opinion, and probably the opinion I think of a lot of other business people who follow these matters, we will see a rally in the markets because the tax breaks and so on that Donald Trump has brought in will stay in, and Trump is very pro-business. We're going to see probably increases in tech companies, defense, finance companies, because of looser controls that will be in place under a Trump second term. So I think we'll see markets rally if that happens. If Biden gets in, I think we'll see markets go the other way for a moment, probably 3 or 4% sell-off in the markets because of the clawback of tax breaks, and because you'll see a government that goes into, I think you'll see boosts in renewables, infrastructure, and you'll see the tax breaks rolled back. You'll also, losers I think under Biden are going to be pharma companies and tech companies because of the tighter controls that will come in under a Democratic government. So that's what I think, right? And I'm going to loop back into the impact on you of what happens. Now, that's not to say I think it's better if Trump gets elected. What I think we in Australia need to remember, because I know mostly we have Aussies on here tonight, if America gets a sniffle, Australia gets a cold, right? And that's a terrible analogy at a time like this, but it's true. we are so closely pegged to the American market in this interconnected world these days that we have to know and think about what's going on. Now, for us as everyday people, what I find fascinating is that the media machine has us all convinced, and when I say media, I'm not just talking about television, I'm talking about social media, particularly as well in that discussion, has this ability now to get us caring at scale about things like this. Like, we ran this headline tonight on what's going on in the world because we know people are paying attention and watching and want to know what's going on. They're paying more attention to these things than what they're paying in their own personal plan over what they can control, and they're trying to take advantage in these micro or sometimes macro movements in markets. And I'll get to why I don't think that's a good idea in a moment. It's a fascinating time because I remember right now the bookies, for example, have Biden to win this one, right? And I'll get to that in a second, but I have two words for you: Hillary Clinton, right? I remember being in America when the election was on last time, and I woke up, went for a walk on the beach in Fort Lauderdale, and turned on the TV just before I went for a thing, and it said, "You're not going to believe this, but Donald Trump has swept the power overnight in America." And it was like shell shock. Like, in Florida, he did really, really well, and I couldn't believe it. So the entire world thought Donald Trump was going to lose, and then the voters came out and voted, and he won in a landslide. So I wouldn't be paying too much attention to political pundits on this one, but I think the other two are kind of interesting to explore. So we've talked about what will happen if Trump wins, in my view, and you can do your own research, what will happen if Biden wins. If Biden gets in, but he doesn't have any real power, that's probably the best outcome in terms of stability, if you're looking for stability. Now, you might be thinking, why wouldn't you be looking for stability? It's because you can make money in turmoil, up or down, once you're educated. But if that happens, it'll be, by the markets, will perceive that as business as usual. The fourth one is if Donald Trump doesn't leave the White House. Now, you might think that's a crazy statement, but that's actually not that crazy when you think about it. It happened in recent memory with the Bush campaign, and there was this time where nobody knew who had won, and what happens at that time, and especially with someone like Donald Trump in the White House, you could accuse Donald Trump of being many things, but a good loser is not one of them, right? If he is beaten, or it looks like it's a narrow margin, I would not be surprised if we see some serious social unrest in America, especially if Donald Trump says, "I do not accept the election, rise up and do what you're going to do." And if that fourth scenario unfolds, we're going to see big movements in the market and not positive movements. Historically, when this happens, last time it happened, the general market dropped 10% during that period of uncertainty about who the president was going to be, and the NASDAQ dropped 20%. We will probably see a similar situation. Now, why am I covering all of this, right? And by the way, some of you might be thinking, "Oh, I think I just won't start a business. I won't start an Amazon business till then." Guys, this is what entrepreneurs understand. No matter what is happening in the world, there is always somebody going to make money, right? Somebody said to me, "Well, what would you sell?" I'd be selling riot masks. I'd be selling flares, right? Like, not to make light of it, but what I'm getting at is that there are always things that are going to sell. Now, those obviously are probably not good long-term plays, but my point is the economics of movement are always going to be in place. So, all of this I'm going to come back to as we move forward. This is what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be a very, very tightly contested contest. I think it's going to be tumultuous, and I wouldn't count Donald Trump out yet of this race. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that video, make sure you hit subscribe as well as the little bell that's sitting around here so that you get notified when we drop any new videos. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe and the bell.